So we're starting the breakdown, and I generally do the body first, going to take up space, and I want to get the neck off because that makes a good soup or stew. And it's always tricky getting the neck for me. I don't know why. I find the getting into those vertebrae, I think, there we go, just have to find the space. What I always learned when I was basically doing nothing butchering stuff is that if you have to force it, you're in the wrong place, which is good. You can see there's bloodshot in here. I'll have to clean all that out. But in the meantime, I'm going to pare some of this down, and then we will take out some of the fat, things like that. I'll probably keep the fat. I think I'm going to make some sausages, so I'll keep the fat. I'll get some pig fat too. Depends on how much bloodshot I get. It's likely to be a longer video, but we'll see if I can do this semi-cleanly with the body and up. So one of the things you can do to make sure you're getting into the spine. He's about 50 kilos, about a year and a half old. I don't know if it was male or female. I suspect it was a female because it's not a very, very strong smell. And the males tend to smell and here I'm just using this to hold on. I've got the steel kind of into the spine, and what I want to do is just gently come down here without forcing and just trying to keep it as clean as possible so that I can do that and keep my hands out of the way because I've been driving and I'm a little tired, but this needs to get processed and there's not much that I can do about it now. It needs to get done. And so now, pretty efficiently, we've taken apart the rib cage in half. And I think that what I'll do is take the ribs out individually after I've cleaned it up. And once that's done, I will scrape, and we've got all of this beautiful loin meat here. And I think I'll just have tenderloins on both sides for that. And for the legs, I will see if I can do a saddle of wild boar, which that is one of my favorite cuts because you have all of the tenderness of the back chops, which always have the most flavor. But anyway, here, I don't know if you probably can see this. I'm just going to come in and just stay very close to the bone here and just follow the line of the ribs. And, maybe I give some of the ribs to the dog. I will give it to him raw for sure. And maybe make some rib soups. I'll probably make a lot of game stock, which I'm always really happy to have. It was a very clean shot just above the shoulder and right into the heart. And there's a little blood damage, but it's not too bad. I'm actually really happy with this. And a shout out to my cousins and near Henche who put this together. So now we have essentially a loin part here, and there's some shot damage which I will take care of. But this will go through, and maybe I'll cut this flap off and grind that into sausage meat. I'm certainly going to make a prosciutto out of one of the legs for sure. But since we're doing this, I might as well stay on the ribs and just absolutely make it as clean as possible all the way down. And the one thing you need to remember to do is to always use your steel every couple of minutes. It's not sharpening it, it's just honing the edge. Sal Catone, this makes me think of you. I know I wouldn't be nearly as clean as you. You were a master butcher, and I miss you very much. I keep hoping someday I'll get you to come to Budapest when you decide to retire. This is the the bottom half of that. I think I will clean this up a little bit. Here's, I guess, what would be, if they used it, yeah, it would be the skirt, but there's nothing really there. Maybe I'll clean it up and saute it for myself. But another nice piece of meat that I will cut up and clean off. Right now we're just doing the kind of big work that needs to be done on this, and I can go individually into the ribs now and just have double little riblets, which I think might be good as sort of spare ribs. And again, I'll have to do some cleaning up of those things, but you know, I'm incredibly grateful for this animal, and I will savor every little bit of it that I can, and try not to waste any of it, and appreciate when it all comes through, because it's, you know, it's a great gift, and I'm incredibly grateful to have it. And you know, it's one of those things. I'm going to be quiet and butcher for a minute. Yeah, he was young. This is going to be very tender stuff. I'm really looking forward to this. It's funny being so out of practice. I used to be able to do this very quickly. But now, I suppose that's not so bad. I should just take my time and not worry about it, and look and remember where things are and where the bones are and how you can open things up. I'm just going to make sure you can see what's happening on the table. Well, I think you can. Ha! Well, maybe I'm not the most horrific videographer ever. This, I'm going to take some of this red bloodshot damage off, and I'll clean that. This is sort of part of up in the neck, and there's a little tiny area you can watch. One of the things about animals and butchering is that you have the seams, and you can find where those are. This is something that's going to have to be broken. Those are just lids underneath, but it's nice and clean now. And we've got the riblets. This will certainly, I'll go and peel in through this, and this will be cleaned up, and I'll make a stock out of it. Now we can go back to the loin side here, and here actually you've got a long bit of tendon, which is what holds in the spine and the neck, and I'll be able to grind that up. That's not anything that anybody would want to eat. So now we just come down here. Again, it's keeping your knife as close to the bone as you can, because you want to just keep going slowly. And if you remember, if you can't see the tip of your knife, you can't see what you're cutting. And it's very important to be able to see what you're cutting, especially if you don't want to cut your, there's a nice meaty rib, you don't want to cut your hand. And it's one of the easiest things to do. Wild boar are not the most dirty animals. They're actually very clean. Unlike lambs, so that if you were to cut yourself or spear yourself with a lamb, I'm just going to remove this one by itself. So now we have a nice piece of loin that I'll clean up. But right now, as I said, we're doing into bigger pieces. Lamb, if you cut yourself with a shard of lamb bone, stop what you're doing immediately and clean your hands and wrap it up, because for whatever reason, lamb cuts and lamb shardings tend to get really infected, and it's really a very nasty thing. It happened to me very early on when I was cooking, and it's just something you want to be aware of. I don't know what it is about lambs that make them dirtier, or what makes the bone fragments that much more dangerous and prone to infection for us. Now just look, I'm just going really slowly down in here, and you know, I'm doing a little bit of wandering. What I should be doing is moving the meat and not having the meat move me. But again, I'm coming right down on this, and I'm going faster now because I'm tired and I just want to be able to get as much of this done as quickly as possible. And I'm sure the doorbell will ring momentarily because I had to bring back some suitcases for some people. But it's really nice to have such a gorgeous piece of meat. Again, this is the whole side of the ribs, which will probably go into sausages or some sort of stew-like thing. We'll be making a lot of stew out of this, the stew meat, but I'm looking forward to playing with the leg and really doing it. And so that means if we're now November, because it's a smaller, leaner animal, by February, the prosciutto should be done. And I'll go through that process again, since we have a whole animal. If I can remember to process as much of it as I can in front of a camera, maybe I can rely on the help of friends who can do that. But again, it's really about getting it done. Now, I've got a little bit of meat here, which I definitely don't want to leave on that. Yeah, I'm very lucky here in Hungary because I have wonderful people who give me these fabulous gifts, and I will definitely be inviting them for dinner to sort of say thank you to that. Now we're just going back and doing the ribs again. And with the cleaver, it's not a big motion. It's just basically a small from the hand angle, because it's harder for it to go. Once you start bringing this kind of thing in, you generally have a more difficult time getting a clean cut. And as I spoke too soon, I didn't get through all of it, but the small cleaver is fine, and that was just a little piece of nothing. Yeah, these will all be washed down. Let's stay with doubles at this point. There's a nice clean one. This cutting board is wonderful. I had it made in Mexico, and I thought I'd leave it in Mexico because it weighs 35 pounds. But then I decided, well, I have space in my suitcase, and I was allowed a lot of weight. This is part of the spinal cord that is unedible, unfortunately. Inedible? Unedible. Not edible. You can't eat it. I'm using all of my language skills. What's happening? That's a triple, but these are all nice clean cuts. That's a cleaver that I got when I was staying with my brother in China, in Hangzhou, just outside of the Meijiawu, which is the old plum village. And there was a butcher who came, and I bought this amazing cleaver from him. It weighs 20 million tons. We've got these beautiful ribs. They're going to need to be washed and blanched, but most of them, I think that I'll just cheat and do this. Following down the edge of the spine. Now I've got a triple, actually quadruple rib. I'll just take that apart easily. And then we have the spine, which will wash out, and this will again make part of a great sauce and those things. And I think that I need to get out, put a caption, he's washing hands or doing something. So I've got a bigger piece now, because I'm now going to attack a shoulder and cut that into, there's one that was hacked up pretty badly. I'm not sure why, but that's where the bloodshot damage was. And we'll look at it, and I'll make that, cut it up for that to be for stew. But these are beautiful. This has got to weigh, 8 pounds, 9 pounds. Really just so beautiful, so fresh. just a really lovely, lovely piece of meat. Which one are we going to keep for a shoulder? That's going to go. Well, I think I might have to do a mini. Okay, well that's going to follow the seam, so that'll be a whole thing that I roast. And everything else I'll just take off the bone. So I will keep a smaller piece of the shoulder for roasting because it's really kind of big. This one is definitely where the shop came in. The blood shop we don't need to keep. Let's check that we're still recording. There we are. 15 minutes, one of these longer videos that people can look at or not. We'll put it up on YouTube, but you can't put it onto Instagram anymore. Remember when there was Instagram TV? The things change so quickly within the platform, and we just never know what's going to happen. As I said in one of the earlier videos, they took too much fat off the hind because the fat is just absolute gold. It's lovely stuff. I may peel that off and render some of that out. If I'm brave enough to bring the cleaver in yet to break this bone. We can try and see what happens. Right in there, I can probably get it out just by following the line here. Yeah, we'll do that. Come down the shoulder blade and pop it out. And this will all be stew meat above this because it's just, you can see that I'm just basically, and it's a very rough cuts because I know I'm cubing this out. I'm not being super careful here with this because I know I'll come in and peel everything off of it and then cut up into cubes. But I want to get as much away so that I can cleanly take the bone out, which is, the joint is right in here, isn't it? Yeah. I don't have to break a bone with the cleaver. There it is. Yeah. You see, a little patience. And now we have the bottom part of the foreshoulder with the ball joint, and this will make a nice little roast. And this I will just peel away and clean later. I could have done a cleaner job with it, but I think this will probably, as I said, go into stew or mince for wild boar sausage, which would be fun to do. I have to remember, you got to remember when you're making sausage, you got to keep everything really cold, otherwise you can break your grinder. But I've got now an industrial grinder that's pretty hard to break. So I'll just keep peeling away at this. All right, that's good. Okay, and we'll do that. Okay, that's the ball joint, and this is the other larger one, which I can play with now too. And this again, I'm not too worried about this because it will go into game stock and yeah, there it is. When in doubt, follow the seams. Oh, look, this is, yeah, this is the right shoulder where it was shot, because you can see that the bullet went through and broke the shoulder blade, so I need to be a little bit careful in this one. There it is. There you are. This is where I wish I had really interesting things to say all the time. There we go. You see, just got to get into that ball joint. This one's okay. Braised boar shanks, and here I will just come gently on the shoulder blade and come round and make sure that we don't get any bone fragments or bone chips into it. I'll have to go through this one very carefully because it's never pleasant, and you don't want bone chips in your sausage or in a stew or in a stock. We're just coming onto this. I'll try and do a little bit better job on this side. But it's hard. It would have been easier if I'd taken my time with the first side. It's got to get to that one little divot extended in there. Bring him around, or her, I should say. It definitely was a her. Women always taste sweeter, don't they? Well, at least in my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely where the bullet went in. I wonder if they got it out. I wonder if that's a law in Hungary and other hunting places, that you've got to dig the bullet out. I know with birds and shot it's almost impossible. But, so that is not as clean as I'd hope. Well, that's a lot of shot damage there, or bullet damage, so we'll just take this down. It'll be fine. Going faster, as I said, because I'm tired, rambling a little bit, or a lot. Hey, I tried to get it, something, I called the blog, as of course, Tim in the Kitchen, which was fine, and I thought, oh, it'll only be about cooking, but it's about a lot of different things. And I realized that because I had a blog many years ago that I let go in the sense that I'm not doing it, but I think the best name for my channel would have been the same as my blog, which is TMI with TIM, but some young person has that. They don't use it, so I don't know, they maybe reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to give it up for that. But who knows? I'm going to keep the fat separate because that way I can use some of the fat for sausage. And we go through. You got some glands in here, you can see. You've got to cut those out because it just is bitter. Yeah. Pause. And it continues to record. So yes, I also played messenger with some suitcases today, which was just fine, and I had to deliver those out. So I'm going to square this off a little bit, make it a little bit tidier. This will be for our braised forelegs, or shanks, I guess you would call them too. We can square this one off a little bit too. This was not too bad. Okay. That's the fat stuff coming off. All right. Let's clean up our table a little bit. And we're now really down to the legs. And I think the legs, I've got to figure out how I'm going to do this. I've got to think about this the right way. Because I've got to take the saddle off. Oh, Jesus. It's got 35, 40 pounds here. Ugh. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful beast. Wow. Phew. I'm going to take this bottom belly and off. Perfect. I'm not going to keep that because that had the... Actually, what I could do is keep it for the dog, couldn't I? Yeah, that's exactly what I'll take the glands off. Yeah. Okay, and this will be for the dog for sure. Dog will be very happy. So now I need to think about how I'm going to do this without a saw, because I don't have my saw. And I think that with the prosciutto, because that's cut, I don't want to do that. This one is still okay, so I can hang it from this. Okay, so this is the one I will hang. And this is the one I will hang in salt. And then, I'm going to get into this. Okay, so the one with the label on it is fine. Okay. Okay, so the question then becomes, where do I come into this? I just don't want to lose any of that loin if I don't have to. Okay. Okay. Look at you in here. You're so beautiful. Wow. I'm going to take this one even down further. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that in through there. Where gravity is your friend. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure any butchers that will see this will say, "What are you doing?" And the answer is, as always, the best that I remember. Okay, that's going into the H-bone. This can come up here so I can... This is where the bone saw would be amazing. But I don't have it. Okay. So this is the one that we will cut up for stew. I got a lot of the H-bone out cleanly. That's amazing. I'm really amazed by that. Okay, well, I'll have to go in and take that one out. And this one now will be a little bit more careful. And just take it up here and down to that. Now that I could break it, but I want to see if I can get the whole socket out cleanly. Where are you here, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to take more than I need on this side to take care of it, because I really do want this to be a nice prosciutto, which I will have to. Again, what they say, gravity is your friend. Friendly gravity. That will have to get cleaned out. Now, okay, there's an H-bone, so we need to just come around this cleanly. Making a mess here. Glad I've got my cleaning people coming. There's the ball joint. Okay, now that's what we were looking for. And once I have that out and separated, yeah, not so bad after all. Probably should have one of those aprons. Okay, that's separated out. And that's just one clean cut. And I will, of course, clean all of this out and open up the bone around here where we'll put all the salt. And then we'll hang the puppy like this for a couple of months. You've probably seen enough of everything that you want to see. I'm going to continue quietly, put on some music, maybe have a glass of wine. Life is good.